Hi guys, welcome back to Living the Gandy Life. Today I want to chat with you guys about this idea that I vaguely touched on when I announced our big news to full-time RV. So it was this idea about reclaiming family. And so what I want to do is just basically just start out and kind of define this idea. And so when we first start of this, talking about reclaiming our family, well, what do I mean by reclaiming? So in order to reclaim something, it kind of insinuates that something has been lost. In our instance, what was lost were these lost moments with our family. We were just starting to realize that we had all of these opportunities, missed opportunities to spend with our family. And so that's what we were wanting to get back. We were wanting to reclaim or get back these moments and these memories and the time with our family. It really came down to this realization that life is just made up of just a bunch of moments, and these moments are fleeting, and we were really realizing quickly that or how fleeting they really are. So let me kind of rewind a little bit here. About 3 to 4 years ago, Joel and I started having this discussion of just the general busyness of life and how this busyness of life really had kind of like a detriment to the nuclear family. So it really started with this discussion of we were spending a lot of our time doing things that we didn't want to do. So Joel would go to a job that maybe wasn't the top on his list, or it was going to be a rough day, or it was just not something that he was looking forward to. So you go to this job and you work and you do something that maybe you don't really want to do to pay for the house that I don't want to clean, to have to do the yard work outside for the house that he didn't want to take the time to do, and neither did I, to go to this job to pay for all of these things that we were doing that were also taking up a lot of our time, because it takes time to clean, and it takes time to do all of the laundry, and it takes time to clean all of the square footage of your house, and just to all of the lawn care that you have to do. It takes time. So not only did you spend a lot of your time maybe at a job that wasn't your ideal circumstance, but you were also coming home and taking care of the house that you didn't really want to take care of either. And it was zapping all of this time that in reality you would have preferred to be spending with your family. And then on top of that, you start to step back and realize all the different things that you have signed you and your family up for, all the different activities that your kids are involved in, all the different activities that you as adults are signed up for or involved in. And you start to realize, wow, we're really busy. We've literally not left any leniency in our schedule. We have everything scheduled. There's not a spare moment to, have some sort of spontaneous event with your family. And maybe not even just a spontaneous event, but just some downtime, or just some, run-of-the-mill family time. And when we stopped and we just took stock in what our family was involved in, and kind of observing other families as well, we started to realize holy moly, our families in general, families in general are just involved in so many activities. It could be church, or your life group, or your baseball, basketball, football, soccer, swim team, dance, choir, piano lessons, horseback riding lessons, book club, whatever. If you have a hobby, I'm sure there's some sort of club for it. So, whatever interests you and your family, you probably have some sort of club or something that you're involved in to kind of enhance that hobby of yours. And we just started to look around and realize that everyone has filled their schedule with so many things. Now, let me preface with one thing. These things in and of themselves are not bad. We were and are involved in a lot of these. I mean, heck, I mentioned church and life group, for goodness sake. These things are not bad. But when we fill our schedule with so many of them, it kind of leaves you with this idea of we've done good things with to the exclusion of the best things. So again, let me reiterate, I'm not saying that these things are bad, but sometimes they can fill our schedule so much that we forget what our mission is. Our mission is to pour into our kids, to pour into our family. And if we're so stinking busy with all these different activities, how can we do that well? And when we schedule ourselves for every minute of every night, those things might be good things that we're involved in, but what are we missing? There's some sort of opportunity cost, right? Where we're doing this, but what did we miss? What was the opportunity that we missed? Was it a family dinner? Was it family time, a family game night? Was it a discussion with your kid? Was it just sitting around and cuddling and reading a book? The possibilities are endless, but it's something that you could have been doing with your family. So let me give you my family example. So before COVID and all the craziness that happened, we have 3 boys and a girl, and all 3 boys were playing baseball. And so what that meant was we had baseball 5 days out of the week, whether it was baseball practice or games or whatever. And honestly, sometimes they were on the same night, which meant that Joel was going one way with 2 kids and I was going a different way with 2 other kids. Now, again, we're there with our family, and some might argue, sports are great family activity, but honestly, I'm going to step out and be bold, and I'm going to argue that it's not great family time, because we would have baseball, like I said, 4 to 5 nights out of the week. And yes, we were all in the same location, but it was not good quality family time. I would have 1 or 2 boys out playing, and then 1 or 2 other kids, kicking rocks around or running around, all around the field and not necessarily playing. Joel might be up coaching one of the boys from the sidelines, and I would be from off to the side taking pictures. So again, we were in the same vicinity, but we were in no way spending quality family time together. And then on top of that, we weren't eating dinner together. I was packing something to take to the game, or we were picking something up on the way. Joel would literally leave work and meet us at the field. So I was stressed because I had to get 4 kids ready. I had to find all of the baseball stuff, all the cleats, all the shoes, or cleats are shoes, cleats and socks and belts and pants and jerseys and hats and gloves and bats and all of the stuff. I was trying to gather up myself and the food and make sure that, everything was together and we were there on time. So we were stressed, we were rushed. Then once the game was over, we were rushed to get home and get everyone showered and into bed. And then you would go to sleep and realize, I'm going to do that all again tomorrow. And, here was Joel, poor Joel, who would come from work, go straight to the game, really had 0 quality time with the kids. And we would get home and he would be exhausted and be ready to crash and start the next day all over again. Now, don't get me wrong. We love baseball. I loved watching my boys play baseball. My boys loved playing baseball. Joel was a baseball player, all throughout school, from the time that he was probably 4 or 5 years old, all the way through high school. We loved playing and watching baseball, but we were realizing that it was costing our family quality time. Now, that's our experience. It was baseball in our family. Baseball was what consumed our family, and it may be different for you. Maybe you're not a baseball family. Only you will know what is consuming your family and maybe pulling away opportunities for you and your family to have good quality family time. Now, let's fast forward to the COVID quarantine era. Everything was canceled, right? No sports, no practices, no nothing. They didn't want anyone to be together. So all of the sports got canceled. And all of a sudden we started realizing, wow, we're getting this time back. What a gift. We weren't running this way and that way for baseball practices and games. And I wasn't rushing every night to get, them fed and get out the door with everything. And we realized what a blessing it actually was to have this time back. Instead of going and playing baseball on a team, we were playing backyard baseball or wiffle ball as a family. We set up our bases out in the neighboring green space by our house, and we were playing baseball, but we were doing it together as a family. Now, it wasn't just us that I really started to see. So during all of this, when everything was canceled, we started to, everyone was outside a lot. So we would be out in the front yard or in the backyard playing just various different games. We would go on walks and bike rides and different things as a family. And I noticed it in us. But then when I would step back, I started to realize everyone else in our neighborhood was doing the same thing. So their activities and their events were canceled as well. And all of a sudden, these people are walking and riding their bikes past our house. And I'm like, I've never seen them before. And I know or assume that, well, I started to realize that they did live in our community because we saw them routinely. Now, but before that, I would have thought, these people are brand new. I've never seen them before. But it was just the busyness of life. They too were busy with their own things in their family. But when COVID shut everything down, everyone started to go out. They were going on walks and bike rides, and you could see them playing basketball out in their driveway or in soccer out in the field, or they'd be at the playground, all these different things. It was forcing families to spend quality time together. And so we really started to have this conversation in our family, okay, is this quarantine, is this, everything that's going on, is this a secondary blessing to a lot of these families because they had no other choice than to spend this quality time together? So in the midst of all of this going on, this is really when this conversation resurfaced, because we were being forced to slow down, to spend more time together. And you know what we started to realize? We really liked it. We did not want to join the rat race again. We didn't want to be normal and, spending all of our time doing all of these activities. We wanted to be different. We were really enjoying the family time, just slowing down, doing what we wanted and on our own terms, not being held to a baseball schedule or this kind of schedule for this sport or this activity. We were doing what we wanted when we wanted to do it. We were finding that our time was our own, and we were having significantly less of those lost family moments. So that's how we ended up to this decision to sell it all and to reclaim our family in this tiny little RV. So I want to end with this. I want to end with a challenge. I want you guys to assess your family, assess the quality time that you're spending with your family. Now, your family is not going to look like mine. I don't expect everyone who watches this to sell their house and all their stuff and live in a tiny little RV and full-time RV. That's not the expectation. But we can always improve. The second that we say, oh, we can't get better, I've arrived, you're fooling yourself, because we can always get better and we can always do better, and we should always be striving to be better. So this is my challenge. Assess what is taking up time in your family that maybe you could shift out. What do you need to do to have more quality time with your family? How can you reclaim your family? Is there something that you can cut back or cut out? Our kids do not need jam-packed schedules. But I can tell you what they do need. They do need their family. They do need their parents pouring into them, building relationships with them, guiding them, having conversations with them, knowing what they're doing in their lives or their thoughts or, the questions that they have. They need that stability with their family. And, don't be pressured to keep up with the Joneses. If we're always chasing that, we're always going to be chasing someone else and something else. Just, constantly have to be reminding yourself, I don't need to do that because so-and-so is doing that. And it's okay to step back and step away from things. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should do something. One of the things that precipitated this whole conversation is we woke up and one day it was like, holy moly, our oldest is 10. He has since now gotten older and he's 11 and a half at this point. So my point is one day we just woke up and it was like, he's 10. That means we have less time with him than what is already passed. We only have 8 years potentially before maybe he moves out, goes to college, or, goes off into his own life. And so we started thinking about that and this idea that the days are long. The days are long. I will tell you, I know the days are long. But guys, the years are short and they are fleeting. And one day we're going to wake up and go, whoa, we only have like this much time left with our kids. Like the time just flew by. And I know for me personally, I don't want to get to that point and think, you know what? I wish I had spent more time with my family. You know, have them leave and grow up and move out and think, you know what? I didn't spend enough time with them. I don't remember those moments. They were busy with this and I was busy with that. I don't want to get to that point and think, I didn't spend enough time with them. Instead, I want to say, I used every opportunity that I had and I poured into them and I had them with me and we made it a priority for family time. You know, because at the end of the time that you have with your kids, you could say, you know, I really wish I'd spent less time with baseball or football or basketball or swim lessons or swim team or whatever it is. You could get to that end and say, man, I really wish we'd spent less time doing that. But I doubt you'll get to the end of your time with them before they move out and say, you know what, I had way too much time with them. We should have been involved in a whole lot more activities. I just don't think that will happen. I don't think we'll ever regret spending time with our families, quality time with our families. All right, guys, those are the thoughts that we had that kind of led us to this point where we sold it all. We're now living in this camper. And I hope that you find it encouraging. This whole discussion on reclaiming family was not to shame people or to, you know, say you shouldn't be spending your time like this and you need to have better time management with your family. That is not it at all. Every family is going to look different. But what I did hope to do is maybe get your wheels turning and thinking, what could we do better? Because we can all do better. Even I have areas that I need to improve on to help spend more quality time with my family. So that's your charge, guys. What can you do in your family to have more and better quality time together? So I hope you guys will just share your comments below. How does this resonate with you? Are you guys doing a good job, reclaiming your family time? Or do you have some areas where maybe you could improve? I would love to hear. And if you have any ideas to share, please drop those below too. We can all be an encouragement to one another of sharing our ideas of how we are choosing to reclaim our family. Because again, not everyone is going to make this crazy decision that we have made. And until next time, guys, I hope you have a very blessed day.